It's okay. Ibrahim, are you set? Okay, you can come here.
No, man toguma.
Hello viewers, you're watching us live from Banjul. iAfrica brings you a special edition. Happening live right now is the press conference to discuss the financial mismanagement of the former President Yahya Jammeh. Also, a report released by the government, a 93-page report released by the government to look into the recommendations of the Janneh commissions throughout their period of investigation. Ahmad.
Well, thank you very much, Fatoumata. Like you said, of course, we are here right at the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General's chambers. And of course, as you can see, the images there, all that we are here for this morning is about the Janneh Commission's report. Of course, today, the ministry have called in a press conference to reveal about, of course, the report. We all know the Janneh Commission existed almost for 2 years looking into the financial dealings of
You fix it? Good morning, everybody. It's another Friday in the Gambia, September 13, 2019. As we are gathered here today, it is humbling, given the trajectory of the entire procedure of this, the circumstances leading to today's event, to have the Honorable Minister of Justice, the Honorable Ba Tambedu, the Honorable Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, the Honorable Ibrahim Asila, the Honorable Secretary General Mohammed B. S. Jallo, and our ladies and men of justice, and the entire press corps gathered here today to unveil the much-awaited Janneh Commission report, a report that interrogates the alleged activities, extra financial activities of former President Jammeh, his cronies, his enablers, parastatals, and whatever. Without much ado, I will just yield back to the Secretary General, who will give a brief statement on behalf of the President, and thereafter the Honorable Tambedu would proceed with the report and the white paper, and then from there we would have questions from members of the press and answers from members of the high table, as it were, and then however, I'll be remiss, really, if I proceed or yield over without making a very sobering comment. It is quite shocking, to say the least, that the document, the report that we are about to unveil has actually been significantly leaked to the press corps, the online press corps. And last night, I had a sleepless night as I saw allegations and counter-allegations from different parties, insinuations as to who may have actually leaked this precious document that everybody was waiting for. Until these leaks were leaked, the only thing I know about it was what I put on Radio Gambia, that the forfeited landed properties would amount to close to $1 billion. The sale from the cattle and other domestic articles was $100 million. I never saw the report. I never saw the white paper. Until I speak to you, I have not seen the white paper. I have not seen the report. Until as I'm speaking, I haven't. So it is quite unfortunate that we have men and women among us in the civil service who are now bent on actually leaking every document before the document is due for public view. It's just unfortunate. And what comes with this is that people who have nothing, absolutely zero, to do with these leakings are maligned, insulted, all kind of garbage, being thrown at them, But then this is a very serious matter. I'm sure the Attorney General has his ways of dealing with it, and when he comes to the table, he'll talk about that. Mr. Jallo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sangare, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Honorable Minister of Communication, Information and Communication Infrastructure, members of the press, other members of the ministries present here. Thank you very much, and it's an honor to be present here in the launching of this report. But first of all, let me just, make a short comment on the statement made by Mr. Sankara in terms of the leak from the civil service. I don't think this government, I think everybody agrees that this government is very open as far as information is concerned. There is no interest to nuzzle the press. Okay, that has to be very clear. But I think at the same time, we have to understand that there are certain things which may have, some security risk as far as the state is concerned. That is why in all developed democracies, every piece of information has different level of security. Certain things can be available to the public immediately. Other things have to be available, after certain considerations are made. As regards this report, I think it was the prerogative of the President to set up this commission, and we thank the Minister of Justice and the commissioners for doing a diligent work. It is also His Excellency the President who decided, based on the powers given to him by the Constitution, to share this report publicly, because it is felt that it is in the public interest that this report is shared. So that, nobody is saying that we are hiding anything. Okay, both the report and the white paper will be shared to the general public. Like Mr. Sankara said, it's unfortunate that maybe some people have leaked it, but it is no secret that I think it was the last cabinet, it was discussed, and the public was informed that cabinet was discussing this report. So on that note, I would like to thank once again the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice and all the commissioners, who spent weeks and months and a lot of investigative work to come up with this comprehensive report. Thank you very much.
Is that yours? Is that yours? Good morning. I'll go straight to the details. You will recall that upon the installation of the Borough administration in 2017, preliminary reports received from, among other institutions, the Central Bank of the Gambia, the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation, the Gambia Ports Authority, GAMTEL, NAWEC, AMRC, GNPC, and other public institutions and government agencies, indicated that substantial funds were either directly or indirectly withdrawn, paid out, or expended on instructions or directives received from the office of the President during the tenure in office of former President Janneh, sometimes for unknown purposes. It was discovered that bank accounts were opened into which funds paid by members of the public and intended for the state were directly controlled and expended by former President Janneh or on his instructions. It was also discovered that former President Janneh, during his tenure in office, had accumulated at least 131 known landed properties registered in his name or in companies and foundations in which he had shares or an interest, and that he operated at least 89 private bank accounts directly or through the aforesaid companies or foundations. Based on these preliminary reports, His Excellency Adama Barrow deemed it in the public interest to launch an inquiry into the financial and other activities of public bodies, enterprises, and offices as regards their dealings with former President Janneh, his family members and close associates, his financial and business affairs, and the assets accumulated by them during his tenure in office. Accordingly, in exercise of the powers conferred on him by Section 200 of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia 1997 and the Commissions of Inquiry Act, Cap 30, Volume 5 of the Laws of the Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, on 12 July 2017, issued a Commission of Inquiry into the financial and other related activities of certain public bodies, enterprises, and offices as regards their dealings with former President Janneh and the accumulation of assets by him, his family members, and close associates, and for connected matters through Gazette Legal Notice number 15 of 2017, issue number 0796, with the following membership: Mr. Suahata B.S. Janneh as chairperson, Ms. Abiose George as member, and Mr. Baima Sen as member. The commission was assisted by Counsel Ami Bensouda, who was appointed by me. The members of the commission were thereafter sworn in, and the terms of reference of the commission included to inquire into and investigate the circumstances surrounding the withdrawal of diverse sums of money from the Central Bank of the Gambia, including from the International Gateway account, the Carnegie Mining Project account, and any other account or fund lodged with the Central Bank, to inquire into and investigate the involvement of the executive arm of government under former President Janneh in the withdrawal and application of funds or resources of public bodies, enterprises, and offices or projects, including but not limited to Social Security, GPA, GAMTEL, NAWEC, AMRC, and GNPC. To inquire into whether and to what extent the resources meant for the government or people of the Gambia, including grants, donations, and loans, were diverted, converted, or misappropriated by or under the direction of the former executive. To investigate the extent to which former President Janneh was involved in public procurement and whether any losses were caused to government by reason of such involvement. To investigate the existence, nature, extent, and method of acquisition of assets and properties of former President Janneh, his family members, and close associates within the period from 22nd July 1994 to 21st January 2017, and to investigate whether such assets and properties were acquired lawfully or otherwise. To investigate the companies, businesses, and bank accounts operated directly or indirectly by former President Janneh and his close associates, or in which he had an interest, or in companies in which he had an interest. The Commission was also mandated to identify whether any person or group of persons committed any offense in relation to any matter inquired into by the Commission, and to recommend ways of improving on the supervision of government accounts in a bid to ensuring that irregular withdrawals from the said accounts do not reoccur, and to recommend ways of recovering or restoring any assets, monies, or other resources that may have been illegally taken, misappropriated, misapplied, or lost. The Commission submitted its report in 9 volumes, totaling 1,600 pages, to the President on 29th March 2019. Following a review of the Commission's report, and in accordance with Section 203 of the 1997 Constitution, His Excellency President Barrow has decided to publish his reaction to the report in the form of a white paper to be published here today, together with the full report of the Commission. Because of its voluminous size, I'm afraid we can only share a few complimentary copies of the report with you here today, and encourage the general public and the rest of you to obtain copies from the GPPC in Carnifing. It will be, of course, for sale. But first, the government wishes to highlight the commendable work of the Commission in general and the procedure that they adopted in their investigations and public hearings. The transparent manner in which the Commission conducted its proceedings and the extraordinary measures it had adopted in order to ensure fairness and adherence to law and due process is highly commendable. The Commission, therefore, has made a number of findings and recommendations in its report. The government has carefully considered the report and in its white paper has stated its decisions and accepts, except as otherwise stated in the white paper, the findings and recommendations as they relate to the issues brought out in the report. In taking the decisions reflected in the white paper, the government has not lost sight of the prevailing governance environment created by former President Janneh at the time. Notwithstanding, in most cases, members of the business community, in their dealings with former President Janneh, were motivated by greed and opportunism, while those who served in public office were mostly motivated by a combination of fear and self-preservation. The government has also taken into account the fact that the Gambia is currently going through a fragile political transition to democratic rule after over 2 decades of dictatorship. Consequently, the government's main objective, as reflected in the white paper, is the recovery of money stolen and or misappropriated from the state by former President Janneh, his family members, and close associates. For the avoidance of doubt, the white paper does not, and neither is it intended to reflect all the findings and recommendations of the Commission. It only contains the key findings and recommendations that the government wishes to highlight from the report, and mirrors the findings and recommendations against the list of individuals identified in Volume 9 of the Commission's report. Some of the key findings of the Commission include the fact that former President Janneh, who was the primary subject of the Commission's inquiry, and whose salary in July 1994, when he took over power, was a mere $2,744. The commission found that former President Janneh was engaged in an unconscionable land grab and acquired 281 landed properties throughout the country. These include private, residential, and commercial properties, islands, forest parks, wildlife reserves, and wetlands. The commission also found that disproportionate amounts of resources were wasted, misappropriated, and diverted by former President Janneh, amounting to at least over $1 billion, to be precise, $1,065,000,000, 304,718,000 United States dollars, and 29 million euros, and over 29 million euros. The commission found that the meager resources at the disposal of our country were managed at former President Janneh's whims and caprices, without regard to the structures and processes in place to ensure coherence and accountability. That former President Janneh, from his actions, reserved the right to appropriate funds from wherever they were available to him for procurement of goods and services, and made no distinctions as to whether the project was for his personal benefit or for public purposes. That at least $3,300,000, $1,858,000 United States dollars, and other amounts in pounds sterling, mostly in cash, were improperly authorized and directly transferred for use by Zainab Janneh from various accounts in the country. The commission found that former President Janneh's financial dealings and all activities were at all stages facilitated, assisted, or even guided by a number of people. The commission has identified 17 persons as close associates of former President Janneh based on the evidence before it. These include military officers who left with him into exile, private individuals and companies that had business dealings with him either directly or indirectly through companies in which former President Janneh had an interest. Apart from the persons who fall in the said category, the commission also found that there were others who worked with former President Janneh by virtue of the offices they held, many of whom were also involved in his financial dealings and or activities. The commission underscored that the damage former President Janneh has caused to government institutions, public resources, and state-owned enterprises is of such serious nature that the government ought to introduce a motion before the National Assembly for charges to be brought against him for theft, economic crimes, and corruption. Based on the recommendations of the Commission, the actions taken by the government are expected to generate at least $1 billion from the assets forfeited to the state and to be sold. However, it should also be emphasized that the Commission was not only established for the recovery of monies, even though it was equally important that there was a credible and transparent process of accountability which provided the government with the legal and evidentiary basis for our recovery efforts. The Commission was also meant to expose the level of corruption and the extent of reckless disregard for fiscal discipline and safeguards against abuses. Therefore, the Commission has made a number of policy recommendations in order to improve on these safeguards. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to inform the general public that a lien has been placed on the properties of the following persons until further notice: Mr. Amadou Samba, Mr. Tariq Musa, Mr. Fadi Mazegi, Mr. Ilya Raymond, Mr. Martin Keller, Mr. Nikolai Bazenu, Mr. Dragos Bazenu, Mr. Ali Yusuf Shawara, Miss Warren Njai Sise, Mr. Tony Ratas, Miss Fayal Diab Ghanem, Trust Bank Limited, and Guaranteed Trust Bank Limited, and M.A. Harafi and Sons. I thank you all for your attention. We will share copies of the white paper with you, and as the government spokesperson said, unfortunately we can only spare a few complimentary copies of the full report. It's voluminous. You can go to the GPPC and try to obtain it. I'll now cede the floor to the Honorable Minister of Information. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Secretary General, Office of the President, the Government Spokesperson, Director of Information, staff of the Ministry of Justice, colleagues in the media. We want to thank you for attending this important press briefing. As per the advice of the Attorney General, he would not like to take questions because of legal ramifications, because some of the issues that are mentioned in the report and the government white paper may be a subject of appeal in the superior courts, and he has advised that he would not like to take questions lest his comments may impact on any matter that this could be a subject of litigation. I think this is an important milestone for the government of the Gambia, having gone through an important process of investigation, and the actual report is now public. The white paper will be distributed to the press here, but the voluminous investigative work of the commission, which is over 1,500 pages, will be handed over to the Gambia Press Union, 3 copies, and the GPU can now decide how it will be distributed to the rest of the media. Maybe you can help them with the photocopies, or those that are eager to get their own complimentary copy can just go and buy from the Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation. But this is one important step of strengthening our governance and democratic process, that citizens ought to know what is being done in their name. And now that the commission has finished its work and then the government accepted the report and published the white paper, we want to thank the commissioners, those who collaborated with them in investigating this important piece of work, and also the Ministry of Justice for taking the important lead in ensuring that the work is published and also made public. We also want to take the opportunity to thank the President for the courage that he has taken to publicly make this report available to the members of the public through you, the media. And we also want to take this opportunity to thank the various media houses that participated in the investigation process, in terms of your time and energy and resources by, playing the different sessions on your different platforms. Some of them, were aired live. It took a lot of resources and energy and time. We want to thank you most profoundly for that. We are also very grateful to the Office of the Secretary General for the support that they have always been given to the Commission and to the Attorney General's Office, more so the Ministry of Finance as well, for making the resources available to the Commission. On behalf of the Honorable Minister, the Secretary General, and the Government Spokesperson, I want to thank you all. Thank you.
Yes.
With your permission, if you give me permission, I'd like to make a very short comment, just not on any question, but the issue of leaking the document that was leaked.
Okay.
With your permission.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah, you can. You most welcome. It's a democracy. It's a good country. So.
and I'm making this on my own behalf as a journalist, but also as a member of the Gambia Press Union. You mentioned about the issue of the documents that were leaked. The Secretary General mentioned it as well. I just want to clarify so that there is no confusion that your concern from the government officials, civil servants leaking the documents, perhaps that is out of touch with what you want to do, and this is not what you want to do, and this, as a journalist, that is not my concern. My concern is to journalists. If there are documents like this and situations like this that are leaked to journalists, it is not a crime for journalists to publish it, and we celebrate this. That has to be clear so people don't vilify journalists for leaking this document. If we have them, we publish them. This is not just Gambia. This is what happens everywhere in the world. They don't wait for reports to be released. If we have leaked documents and they are not obtained through fraudulent means, we publish them. And on behalf of the Gambia Press Union, we celebrate this, and this is not a crime. And I'm saying this just for clarity.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please, I have one comment to make.
Okay. And you are?
I'm Mr. Jaite. I'll introduce myself.
Okay.
My name is Mr. Mamadou Lamin Jaite. I'm a journalist and also representing Pan-African News Agency in the Gambia. Pan-African News Agency is a continental wire service publishing in English, French, Arabic, and Portuguese. Fine. I'm so disappointed that we came here, you invited all the journalists, only to say that no question. So what's the purpose of the press conference? Of course, we understand. We cannot comment on the whatever you may consider as legalities. But there are a lot of unanswered questions regarding governance, regarding the way things are being managed in this country. So I think it will be fair enough, now that we have all these mouthpiece of the government around, to answer those questions. Maybe we can understand, we can refrain from asking questions dealing with the Janneh Commission report. But I see no reason why the Minister of, with all due respect to him, Minister of Information is here, the government spokesperson is here. There are a lot of unanswered questions on topical issues of the day, and the government has to answer these things. So please, I would want us to accept some few questions. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, please.
My
Otherwise,
issue
sorry.
about the report is informed by a legal position. I'm not saying that because you know that we are always available to the media when it comes to any governance issue. This government, we have nothing to hide. You know that I am the most accessible person in this country. You call me and I give you the answers. But this time, because it's a legal report that has been published, and it may be that the outcome of the work, a lot of people may agree or may not agree with it. So the Attorney General has opined that it may not be wise to give an opinion other than what he has said. That's what I was telling you. If you have governance issues, questions about governance, engage us, ask us, and then we will answer that. I only talk about the report, and I think we have to be fair to each other here. I did not say anything about any other topic other than this report. And I think we are all journalists, we all understand that if a matter that could be a subject of litigation, you want to, as much as possible, not to give an opinion on that. I think this is, Sirif, one of the most celebrated journalists, is here. And he's the president of the Gambia Press Union. You are, an elder journalist, Pap Sen is here. They all understand this. I have been a journalist myself. When a report is published, you don't give an opinion on that. if citizens that are adversely mentioned in that report want to take the matter to court, your comment as a public official can be used as a justification or otherwise. So everybody, this is the norm anywhere. And Sirif, you can agree with me, even in anywhere internationally, I have never seen anywhere where people publish a report and then they just go and make a comment on it. That's why the Attorney General's report, the statement, you can see that it is carefully crafted and it is based on issues that are only mentioned in the report, not opinion.
Everywhere else, recommendations too are implemented.
Yes, the recommendations are in the report.
On governance issue, not
yes.
to the Attorney General, but to you, what assurance can you give to us and the Gambian public that recommendations based in this report will be implemented to the fullest without fear or favor?
When you say white paper, it means that action has already been taken. I mean, if you look at the recommendations, government has recommended that assets are forfeited for those that are adversely mentioned. For people like Janneh and the rest that actually have, issues to do with funds, recommendations are also there that they are forfeited to the state. So when you say white paper means government has studied the dense report and then it has taken this decision, and this decision is the position of the white paper. That is why I said, it is important you look at the white paper. All the recommendations are there that government has taken as a step, because white paper means we have studied the report, now we have published our actions. That is the white paper. So the issue of recommendations not being implemented does not arise, because already this is the decision that we have taken. Yes.
Yeah, just one moment. Can you wait, please?
There is no classified thing in the report because it's already public. Anything in this report, you can go and publish it. It's the position of the Gambia government, and we are not only giving you. Yes. It's published. It's public view. For us, we are not. There is nothing hidden in the report now. We are not only giving you the report, but we are also giving you the position of the government, that we have accepted the recommendations of the Commission, except otherwise as stated by the Attorney General.
Yeah, I want to be very clear, absolutely clear. Throughout my statements, I think I was very measured. I never talked about journalists. I specifically said civil servants. I am a journalist myself, a bona fide journalist for that matter. I spent over 3 decades writing and broadcasting, and I'm aware and conscious of the profession and how we celebrate, to use Sirif's word, leaks. What I'm trying to say is, if you work for the government and you are sworn to an oath of secrecy, you must be secretive. You must observe that oath of secrecy. People's confidence is at stake. The whole of yesterday, there were insults and abuses on Facebook. There are allegations that the journalist to whom the leaks were leaked to may have a sugar daddy at State House or a boyfriend at Justice. It's preposterous, quite frankly. And that's what I'm talking about. I have never suggested or insinuated that journalists should be sanctioned. Never, ever. I know. Yes. If you want to look at, go ahead with your question.
And also, as Jetta said, if you have any other question on governance, you can ask us. That as a government, we are free to engage you on that.
You have?
What we said, each of you will be given this report, the white paper, and then you can serialize it as you wish. Okay? Everything in the report is public, and the strong position of the government. If you are able to get the commission report itself, which is over 1,500 pages from the Gambia Press Union, if you want, you can also serialize it. Although most of what they have said in this report, we are already, subject of, public knowledge, because they sat in public, and they, directly and copiously, copied all the, testimonies of the witnesses and the people who appeared before the commission. So our, recommendation as a government and our position is what basically is in the white paper, because we have taken a position on that, and that is why we are giving to all the media houses a copy of that white paper. That is the position of the Gambia government. What we don't want to do is to make opinion on our recommendations, because if people who are not in agreement with the position that we have taken and want to take the matter to court, then you may be held liable for the comments that you have made or opinions. So that is why we are saying this is our position as government. Take the report, serialize it to the public so that they can all read it. I mean, and the Janneh Commission report also will give that to the Gambia Press Union so that you can all have. There is nothing hidden there. We are not hiding anything. What we want to avoid actually is the opinions on, the report. The Attorney General is also, ready to take any governance questions that you may have or any other issue that you want to ask us as government. We are prepared to answer those questions.
He has a question. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister for that clarification.
Yes.
Maybe I didn't get it right.
No, there is no problem. I mean, for us as government, it is important we engage the media. If you kind of misunderstood what we said, yes, it's our position that we come and clarify that. Because the fact that we have called you here to share this report is ample testimony of our openness to the media. And yeah.
Okay, I have a few questions, but they're directly linked to some of the...
in all fairness to the...
Yeah, I'm not raising that. Now,
yes,
I'm making this question on behalf of those skeptics and pessimists, all over Serekunda, Brikama, and the like, because as a journalist moving around, I have discovered that the euphoria and the promise that came with the advent of the new regime way back in 2017, there was this rising expectation that we have a new Gambia, that things will not be as the same before, it will not be as business as usual. But 3 years down the line, if you talk to the common person and they are sincere to you, they open up to you, they will tell you that they are disappointed, that this is not the change they were looking for. That if you look at our governance system, our society, of course, a lot has changed. Nobody can deny that. A lot of people are freer. But yet, a lot remain to be changed. And some of these pessimists and skeptics are saying that if you look at the recent relationship between the police or this security and the citizens, a lot needs to be worked on. Because it seems the police are still living in the past.
I think, Jato, we need to quickly ask the question because you are going round and round.
Okay, let me go direct to the question.
Yes, please, go to the point.
A lot of people are of this view that if we continue with these trends, very soon Gambia will slide back to dictatorship, or will end up having what they call benevolent dictatorship. How do you react to that?
Well, you talk about the police public relations sector. I mean, indeed, you know that we have an ongoing security sector reform. This is extremely important. Yes, we are all not happy with some of the things that are happening with all these allegations that are coming out there. But what I can tell you is that, change is not a static thing. It's an ongoing process. And the fact that we have taken this bold initiative to start this process of security sector reform is really an ample testimony of government's commitment to ensure that we make serious inroads. The other issue of skeptics, I mean, democracy is all about skepticism. I mean, people will make noise. It's important when those noise are made, government listen and then act appropriately. I mean, you don't expect people in a democracy to sit and don't make noise. You don't expect people in a democracy to sit and don't make, criticisms. So this is, democracy goes with criticisms, democracy goes with noise, and then we really accept that. But the fact that, we have 3 commissions of inquiry, I mean, 2 have already submitted a report, the Janneh Commission, and we have published that. The Faraba Commission, we have published it. We have the Constitutional Review Commission now. I mean, we are expecting the report hopefully in the early part of 2020 or before the end of this year in December. Hopefully they will finish the work. And then we are expecting the TRRC also to continue sitting and then, unravel some of the alleged human rights abuses that have, that were committed in this country. So these are important milestones for any, country. But more importantly, today we have a very strong media that is not gagged. I mean, we have a very strong civil society that is vocal, that is engaging the populace, and their concerns are raised with vigor in the media. We also have a very strong, robust parliament that we all know is doing a very good job. And we have an executive that is actually engaging the people on their needs and concerns. So this is democracy at work, and we will continue to work with the relevant institutions in the government, especially the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Defense, and also the Attorney General's chambers to fast track this issue of security sector reform.
Okay.
Yes.
The final question.
Let's give opportunity to another one.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, okay.
My sister.
I want to refer my question to the justice.
Hold on 1 second, please. You know, here you maintain decorum. I have told you you're not supposed to stand here. Can you find a specific location and be stationed there, please? Yes, please. Please.
Yeah.
Can you give him the mic?
Yes, Mr. Mane.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I want
Thank
to
you.
refer my question to the Honorable Justice.
You are blocking the cameras behind you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
To the Honorable Justice Minister. I wanted to know whether he is considering returning the diplomatic passports of his family, and also I want to know whether he has a second thought when he was applying diplomatic passport for the wife of Ndendefal. Thank you very much.
Okay. The Attorney General would like to answer that.
Well, I'm sure by now all of you know that I'm not one to shy away from responding to questions. I will respond to this question and on the diplomatic passport issue just this once, and that's it. I will not speak about it again. I sometimes joke that it's only when I travel outside the Gambia that I feel that I am a government minister, because of the way other places treat their ministers. It's a different story here in Gambia. But let me clarify the facts. And this was in June 2019, less than 3 months ago, that I inquired from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about those who may be entitled to diplomatic passports. And I see a lot of misconceptions about that as well. Diplomatic passports are not only meant for diplomats. That's a misconception that is out there. And that is why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs gave an advice, I think it's an interview in the Fourier newspaper, to categorize those who are entitled to it. In addition to specific categories of persons, it says, and the president has a discretion to give it to any person. So that's in addition to the group that is already identified. And that group includes diplomats and their dependents. And clearly it is contained in that same response, and which is the information that I was given as well, that cabinet ministers and their dependents, their wives, their kids, could be given diplomatic passports, in addition to the president's decision. Now, on the basis of that advice, I wrote to His Excellency the President to grant diplomatic passports to, these are the closest members of my family. I did not ask for it for my spouse and children. I asked for it for my spouse and mother. My sisters were just add-ons. I mean, I had responded to this issue earlier on in a private forum, but that was a personal response. This is now my official one. For my mother, it's not for a stranger to me, it's not for a friend, it's for my own mother. And if I can, by virtue of my office, request for a privilege that is totally lawful and legitimate, that I can request from my principal, who has the power and the discretion to grant that request, to facilitate my mother. We're not talking about strangers here, or friends, or distant family members. To facilitate the travel of my mother for a specific purpose. I went to Lens in the request to justify why I wanted it for her and also to provide assistance to her. What's the point of my mother carrying a diplomatic passport in Saudi when she is moving in a wheelchair and there's no one to move with her? So because of those reasons, I submitted the request based on the advice that I received and correct advice as well. The president approved it. I had nothing to hide. I didn't even label the letter confidential. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And it's unfortunate that in perhaps a desperation to look for something on me, people are using this opportunity to say all sorts of things against and about me. But it's public office. I know it's going to end someday soon. But I'll tell you this. Ever since I assumed office 2.5 years ago, I have never been so hot in my life. Because we're talking about my mother. And if I did nothing wrong, nothing against the law, nothing unethical, nothing immoral, and I am being, it hurts me. That's all I'll say.
Imam, you have a question? Yes, John, yes, go ahead.
I have a question for you, Minister, but I will just address it to this government spokesperson. You know, you are a political expert, political science expert. You know, you said that over the past weeks, you know, government documents have been leaked by civil servants. Are you really believe that there are some civil servants who are acting as a fifth column of the political organization to undermine government? Another question with regard to climate change, because it is, you know, the countdown has started. Dorian has hit, you know, Florida and the whole area of and almost 3 small islands have disappeared. And we have seen in Gambia that government is so prompt to, you know, prosecute people who, you know, contravene with the public order act. But when it comes to preserving the environment, you know, to preserving our ecosystem, they are doing nothing. How do you explain that?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. John. I am not a climatologist, nor am I a meteorologist. I'm not even trying to be an environmental guy. What I can suggest, though, is maybe to refer you to the people at the Ministry of Environment and to see what they have been doing about your concerns. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the answers to your questions when I don't. But I know for a fact that 2 weeks ago, the Environment Ministry, in order to take the ministry to the people, decided to have a foundation stone laid somewhere close to Abuko by the nature reserve to bring to the people of that community and sensitize them on the values of preserving our environment. A week ago, several logs, containers of logs, were also intercepted at the Ports Authority. And then the Ministry of Justice and the police, I'm sure, are on top of that story. And all these go really to show the seriousness and commitment of the government towards our environment. And I'm sure there are other areas of intervention, like the cultivation and the planting of mangrove swamps across the swamps of the Gambia. The Environment Minister is a very active guy. He crisscrosses the country all the way to the hinterlands, trying to make sure that we rejuvenate the forest cover, the lost forest cover that is. If you look at what happened at Njambai Forest, the entire forest has been depleted. And that wasn't done by the Barrow government. You know exactly what happened here 22 years ago. And to dwell onto that really is to waste time, the time of this press conference. The first question was about what again? Because it was a long question.
You know, some people are saying that, you know...
Oh, civil servant.
Yeah, the civil servant acting like a fifth.
Or fifth column for a political party.
Yes.
Well, I never said that. I never talked about political parties. I only said civil servants are sworn to a code of conduct. I have never insinuated, nor did I suggest that a political party or political parties were in cahoot with civil servants. Those may be your own words. Unfortunately, that's not my thinking. Yes, yes, sir.
My question is to the Justice Ministry. Minister. So, we've seen that you have filed a nolle prosecute for 30 youths, and that we also know in May, the Amnesty International came and met the president. One of their recommendations was for the anti-crime unit to desist from arbitrary arrest. We are now in September. You are filing nolle prosecute for 30 people who have been held in Mile 2 for 14 days. But yet still, there are 7 others who are still charged. What's the logic behind maintaining the charge on the 7? And most importantly, will there be steps taken to address the anti-crime unit, especially considering the recommendation from Amnesty International, sir?
Well, thank you. I mean, there are parts of that question which are mine and parts which are not. What the anti-crime unit does is the responsibility of the police and the Interior Ministry. However, as the government, as the Honorable Minister of Information said, there is a security sector reform ongoing. We do not expect old habits to die quickly. It takes some time. But I think one thing you will all accept as well is that there have been improvements in the way that the police are dealing with ordinary Gambians compared to the past. We can't deny that. Now, there will be occasional excesses. There's no doubt about that. I will be hard-pressed to point out any country in this world, including the most advanced democracies, where there are no police excesses occasionally. So the challenge for us really is to try to prevent it from happening, and that when it happens occasionally, we address them. And I think that was the spirit in which Amnesty International submitted their report. And allow me to say as well that I had engaged Amnesty International on that report, and we came to a mutual understanding that the report was not meant to be conveyed in the way that it came out. So they admitted to some extent that the report could have been better conveyed. It was written communications between us because we conducted our investigations following that report, and we were able to establish that actually not everything in that report was 100% accurate. And so instead of coming out with a statement to counter amnesty in public, because of our collaborative work, we reached out to them and pointed those out to them, and they admitted that as well. So just to share that with you, that not everything you read from some international organizations is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. They are as fallible as we are in government. There's no doubt about that. In terms of why I discontinued the prosecution of 30 and retained 7, well, we have to understand how our criminal justice process works in this country. The police have a duty, they have an obligation to fight crime. That means preventing it or investigating it after it occurs. In the course of their investigations, if they have reason to believe that a particular suspect has been involved in a crime, then they will conduct their arrest based on preliminary investigations, and then because of the 72-hour requirement, they would take them to court. I think we all know that we are trying very hard to make sure that everyone who is arrested in this country is brought before a court within the 72 hours. I think that is credit as well to this new government, unlike the past. Now, the reason why we do that is because the police cannot complete their investigations within a 72-hour period. And if the person is a flight risk, then the police will take them before a court of law and request for them to be remanded in custody while they continue their investigations. At the conclusion of those investigations, the case file is sent here to the ministry for our review and advice as to whether there is sufficient evidence to proceed with the case in court. Now, while in this particular occasion, because of the public interest in the matter and the number of youths who were arrested, it was out of collective concern that I didn't even wait for the police to conduct their investigations completely or send the file here. I reached out to the police and I said, the number is too high. 37, we have to keep remembering something. This country is still not as stable or as perhaps entrenched in democracy as we all feel these days. It's still a fragile transition. It's only been 2.5 years. And that is why a lot of our international partners are commending us every day for the progress that we're making in ensuring stability. That is why the UN Secretary General has included Gambia in his sustaining peace agenda. So let's not assume that everything is rosy and dandy here. It's not. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Transitions take time, especially political transitions. So I thought in the interest of public stability, I requested the police to review the evidence that they have, which led them to arrest the 37, and to narrow down on those who are directly responsible for the arson, for the burning down of Gorgui Mbub's house, and also the burning down of a police vehicle. I asked them to zero in on those, and they came back with the report that, okay, they think these 7 are, on the basis of the evidence that they have as at that time, this was last week before we traveled to Qatar, that these 7 are the ones that they have identified. So I took the decision to discontinue proceedings against the other 30. Of course, the charges included rioting, unlawful assembly, but like I said, it would not be in the public interest to prosecute 30 youths at that time. But those who are remanded in custody, we actually didn't oppose bail when their lawyers applied for bail. We had to revise and amend the charges because what they were charged with, arson, is not bailable. So we had to revise the charges to bring it to a lesser serious offense so that they can be granted bail while the police continue their investigations. We can't also allow people to burn down people's houses and properties and then walk away. That's not right. That's not how a country is governed. Otherwise, we will all be victims, each of us. And that is why we are taking a very strong position on the arson offense. But for the time being, I want the police to focus on those who are directly responsible. I've asked them to review the case of the 7 as well, going forward, and hopefully I will hear back from the police. It may or may not go down further, I don't know, but this is what the police have given to us. Like I said, we have not yet even received the file officially from the police, but to show the proactive nature of the government as a whole. Because let's not forget that the Justice Ministry is an integral part of government of government machinery. So is the police. There are different parts, and we all do our parts. We all complement one another, and there are checks and balances, and that's how systems work. So if the police do not get it right all the time, we try to provide them with assistance that can fill in the gaps. If we don't get it right, the judiciary is here to provide an additional check. This is how systems work. So that's all I can say about that.
Just to follow up, will it be fair to say that the public is concerned that the focus is on the burning of properties and not so much on the killers of Keba Seka and the murder of, alleged torture of Usman Dabo? Is that the focus of the government, or is that something your ministry can help to reorientate? Because life, we believe, should come before property, and whether your ministry and the rest of the government, they believe in this.
Let us be fair to this government. The police did a brilliant job following the murder of Keba Seka. Let us admit they arrested the culprit, who was a police officer, and that culprit is in detention. Now, you can't say that the police have prioritized the burning over that incident, because the culprit, the alleged suspect in the murder of Keba Seka, a police officer for that matter, is in custody, and the police acted very swiftly. Now, in terms of the alleged torture of Usman Dabo, I think the recent report, the autopsy report was released, and I am not very sure because I was away when that happened, but I think the government has shared that report with the public to establish the cause of death. And so, this is why fake news is dangerous. Because when fake, no, it's true. Just last December, I think I was chatting with Honorable Minister, BBC had a documentary, Beyond Fake News. I'm not sure how many of you saw it. The dangers that it causes in society. And in the particular case of Dabo, the rumors, unfortunately, did not help. And some people, reacted spontaneously on the basis of those unfounded rumors and caused further damage and destruction in this country. So These are all challenges in an emerging democracy. As I said, we will try to prevent where we fail. We will try to remedy when there are excesses. But we can't say that the police prioritize the burning of Gorgon Boob's house over the investigations into the deaths of Keba Seka or Dabo. Thank you.
I think I just want one final question. Well, then he has to come because he never, you are the final, yes. And then the minister will make a statement.
Honorable Minister, yes. I'm sorry. Honorable Minister, with all due respect, I know how you felt when your mother is mentioned on this issue. Given to the plight of your mother. But I said, Minister of Justice giving legal advice to the government. Would you now consider giving preference to other people who are not ministers and their mothers are in that situation for government to give them a diplomatic passport?
Right from the start, I said, I joke that this is the only, when I travel outside this country, that's when I feel that I'm a minister. Now, you can't put ministers in the same box as everybody else. Every morning, you wake up, you go about your personal business, right? You go about your personal business, your livelihood, your work. Every morning, ministers wake up and public servants, they go about the public's business. They leave aside their personal issues. They do work for you, for the public. And that is why they are recognized in some of the non-monetary privileges that ministers are given. That is why you're treated as a VIP when you go to certain places. Not everyone is given because we carry the public burden. And so if the law allows for a minister to access certain privileges and their families, well, complain to the law. Don't complain to me. I am not the maker of the law. I am not the enforcer. So I'm only the enforcer. And so to ask that if the same could be extended to others, well, maybe every other citizen should be given a car, should be given an orderly, treated the same way as every minister. And then maybe ministers should not be blamed when they leave public work and go and start to run after their own personal issues, just like you do, just like all private citizens do. That's the difference. That's the difference.
My colleague question is whether now you will consider...
I will return these passports, not because they were acquired unlawfully or wrongly. It's because I don't need the distraction. I don't need the distraction. My family doesn't need the distraction. And it has served its purpose. And just to reiterate the point, a week and a half after they came back from Hajj, they submitted their request for US visas. Go and find out from the American embassy whether they use the diplomatic passports. They use their ordinary passports. Just to underscore the point that really, it's much ado about nothing. Cabinet ministers, in fact, anyone who serves in public office demands some latitude, some respect for the office, not the persons. You can hate the person, that's okay, but it's the office that you have to look at. And we can't all be treated the same way. I'm not a communist. I don't pretend to be one. I don't want to be one. I'm a capitalist, born and bred.
Thank you very much. Okay, that actually brings us to the close of this press conference. The Minister of Information is just going to make a brief statement, and then thereafter we can distribute the report, the white paper to everybody, and then we hand over.
Sheriff, maybe you'll come here so that the Attorney General will give you the complimentary copies. The 3 voluminous reports.
Secretary General who will do that.
Okay. The Secretary General will do that. But also just to emphasize once again that there is nothing hidden about what we have done here. The report is public. Please serialize it in your newspapers, or you can serialize it in your media houses, radio, TV. It's public document. We have taken a position as government, and that is why the white paper is published. The report is also here. GPU will distribute this to its members. So that's it. Thank you so much. The Honorable Secretary General would like to hand over the report and the white paper to the Secretary General of the Gambia Press Union for onward distribution. The president of the GPU. So you can see that is this is one report. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. It's volumes. Yeah? So that's one copy of the report. So you can see how big it is. So that's one. And then we have 3 of these that you will have at the Gambia Press Union, and maybe you can help facilitate the photocopy, or those that are eager to get the Janneh report itself, you can have it. But for our position as government white paper, we have made enough copies for all of you so that you can get it. And then this is, no, I don't know the price, but it's over 1,600 pages of the Janneh report. Yeah, you can find that out from the printing department. But we are giving you.
This is for the journalists who are here today.
No, this is for the GPU. No, this is one volume. Okay, this is one report. 9
the
volumes.
white paper is here. You'll get that later.
Now you want to sell it and you want to give us the responsibility of photocopy, spending money.
Well, we'll give you 3 complimentary copies of the report, so you can take that.
I think to be fair, government is giving you a complimentary copy.
Yes.
As you can see, I mean, even the cost of production
It's high.
Yeah. That is why it's giving to the
This is the white paper?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not just the journalists, for any person in public who wants to have a copy, you go like all other documents.
Yes.
You want to have a copy, you go to the Gambia Public
Corporation. Yeah.
Right? And then
we don't want it leaked.
No, I think like the other speakers have said.
Yes.
We cannot change a lot of things that happened in 2 decades, in 1 year. All right, but let's accept that we are moving on the right direction.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of these things that are happening today has never happened.
Exactly.
All right. It has never happened in many countries. We have studied some countries, but in many countries, even this does not happen.
Yeah.
All right. And let me also say that, because I think in some of the comments, it's 9 volumes, and one of the volumes is actually policy recommendations for government. All right, that shows that we are ready to make changes. You cannot just make changes, as I said, in a day.
Yeah.
But government has to put systems in place so that in the near future the whole public would have confidence that everything is going right. So on behalf of His Excellency the President, we now hand over this copy to the GP as a complimentary copy.
So this other one, as you can see, is the white paper. We are going to give 3 to the GPU also, but we'll give each of you a copy. This is the position of the government, this white paper, and it entails everything that we as government has taken in recognition of the good work that the Commission did. So it is our position, and it is also public. You can serialize this, as well as the report, are produced by the commissioners. Honorable Secretary General. Can I have 2 copies for the GPU? 2 other copies for the GPU? Yes? Okay, two. No, for the white paper. White paper, yes. Okay. Sheriff, these are 3 copies for the GPU again, but each of you will give you a white paper, yeah? Okay. Yeah.
So
how many are you here? No, we are giving the document to the media houses, not individuals, please. Because we want to also give this thing to cabinet ministers also. You'll be surprised, even cabinet ministers, we don't have a copy. You are the first to get this copy. So it shows how open we are. I look forward to getting my own to Honorable Attorney General. Department of Information will get, that one is out, there. Okay. So media houses, please, let's with the Attorney General's chambers here right now. 1 for media copy, 1 copy for the media house. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes. Sankare, please be careful. Yes,
I don't know which one is mine. I think this is Omar Bas. Yeah, this is Omar Bas. No. Well, I confirm that Omar Bal Tamil, so I don't know. I don't have much idea.
Live here at the Ministry of Justice, it was a press conference to discuss the Janneh Commission report, of course, together with the 93-page white paper released, produced provided by the government concerning the financial mismanagement, of course, by the former President Janneh. Amadou, we've had series of speakers from the press conference. Of course, it is not what a lot of people expected when they were leaving their offices to come to cover the program, but so far, what have we learned?
Well, thank you very much once again. As you said, we are still right here at the Minister of Justice office, of course, in Banjul, where we were here, as you know, and of course, you watched on Africa also that expectations has been very high in what was going to be said here today. And you heard from the Justice Minister, you heard from the Minister of Information, and of course the spokesperson as well, who all spoke about the reasons why we're here about the Janneh Commission's report. And of course, expectations were high. You would be told by the ministers themselves what is the position of the government, the recommendations, the actions to be taken, and all that Gambians would want to know about their decision. But of course, we understand that they are not going to take actions as we earlier understood with regards to that. Yeah, they have answered some questions in government matters and other issues as well. But we thought that the reasons why we are here is about the Janneh Commission, and they should have at least say a word or two about that. We understand there's a 93-page white paper book which they have issued, and they said the recommendations are there. They have given to the media houses, and the public would go to the GPPA to have other copies and buy them. They are not free, by the way. So anyway, I thought maybe it could have been
better. But Amadou, before we delve into the discussion proper, we understand that part of the document was leaked to the media, and as the spokesperson said, the government spokesperson, he has had a sleepless night yesterday thinking of how and what is becoming of the civil service, as we've seen a series of leaked documents recently. It has been happening very frequently.
Like you said, of course, he said he was very shocked yesterday when he showed this document leaked on the social media, and he had a sleepless night, like you said. And then but this is becoming so frequent. It's not something new in this current government. We all know that it's an open secret, by the way. So what is it that is going wrong in the civil service that is making the government papers or documents to be leaked? It's another thing. It's not something that we can delve in, or maybe we can know at this point. But whatever it is the government that should make or take actions about that. And then he was shocked, like he said, but then, like I said, it has become very
one thing
frequent.
I know, whatever the problem is, I know the media is always ready to receive leaked documents.
And it was very good that the GP president have talked
to clarify that. That was a very good one from him.
Very good one from the press. Whosoever received a document, which is not a fraudulent one, you can happily publish it, and because it's for the public to know. It is not the information is not for you, the journalist, but again, it's for the public. So the moment you receive any document which you think you can go out and publish, why not? And say at the GPU level they celebrated it. So I think that was what he wanted. And
exactly.
That's
why. So Amadou, I think it's high time we delved into the discussion proper, although much hasn't been said and much information hasn't been given out. But with a little said by the Minister of Justice, of course. First is the funds entered by the state, where the former president mismanaged and diverted funds, especially from the series of withdrawals that normally happened at the central bank.
Well, I will say some of the things we heard here today, of course, where some of the revelations made during the Janneh commissions, and it's never a surprise to hear some of the amount of monies or the cars mentioned, the amount of money that has been mismanaged or have been used on other unnecessary areas, as they may call it. But whatever it is, I think we all expected that there will be people that will be implicated.
Exactly.
There will be people that will be mentioned, and of course he had at least highlighted some of those people's name, and of course but not in detail like he have said. Of course the government position, like we said earlier, is on the white paper book. But then again, I think
he's mentioned 131 loan landed property, 81 private bank accounts, and all things that we've had before. We expected to hear more from from the white paper, of course, which consists of more constructive decisions. But if since that is not the case, let me allow Ma'am GB to buttress on what the Minister of Justice said, perhaps in the Wolof language, so that our local viewers too can get a hint of what is actually happening.
jërëjëf Fatmata jërëjëf Amadou defe naa ne comme niñ ko waxee depuis ci suba ba tey ñu ngi tey fii ci Ministry of Justice tey ñi déggee ci kaddu yi kilifa yi nga xam ne ñoo ñëwoon pour taxawu jotaay ji nga xam ne ñu ngi ko doon xaar ci indi ci firnde yi nga xam ne Janneh commission bi mu ngi ko doon taxawoo dégg nañ léegi-léegi comme ni nga ci waxee liñ dégg ci liñ ci jot a wax ba léegi am na lu des a feeñ ci wax ji ndax wanante des na ak gëtëm li tax loolu ñu wax ko mooy white paper bi dafa am luñ ci doon xaar tey jii liñ ci doon xaar nag am na ñoom lu ñu ci junj nañ ko comme ni nga ko waxee téeméer ak lu toftal ci ay kër yu nga xam ne njiiti réew mi fi nekkoon moomeelam la woon ci jamono bi mu fi nekk ñu gis ne lu jëm ci juróom-ñett fukki bank account ak lu tëpp ci li nga xam ne tamit kopparam moo fa nekkoon xayma ci xaalis bi nga xam ne tey jii dégg nañ ko li nga ko wax ci report bi ak niñ déggee Minister of Justice wax ko ci report bi nga xam ne tey ñu ngi ko doon indi loolu yëpp tey dafa takku ba nga xam ne lii lañ doon xaar ci li am ci yëf yi waaye nag ba tey am na leneen lu nga xam ne mu ngi ci mooy dégg nañ ci kàddu yi wax ne am na lu nga xam ne buñ ko bëgg a wax ñoom wala ñu bëgg koo fësal mën na nekk dañuy teggi li nga xam ne mooy loi ñu ngi xaar loi yi nga xam ne mooy tegu ci kaw tuuma yiñ teg ci ñenn ci askan wi wala ñi doon liggéey ak nguur gi ñu nekkoon ay jegeñaalem tudd nañ ay tur waaye jàpp nañ ne tur yooyu kese rek nekkut ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo lamb ci yëf yi white paper bi ci kanam tuuti daañ ko jot ndaxte jox nañ ñi nga xam ne ñooy taskatu xibaar yi ak media house yëpp segam buñ ko jotee dinañ ci jukki tuuti ci li nga xam ne moom moo nekk ci biir white paper bi ngir ñi indi ci suñ explanation xaar tamit askan wi lan moo ciy seen gis-gis segam ñin tam dañ nekk diggante ñi nag askan wi leneen am ci lu nga xam ne tamit taskatu xibaar yi amoon nañ ci tuuma ci ndorteef bi mooy ne report bi dafa likk bañ dégg tur yi ñenn ci askan wi ñu nga xam ne ñu ngi doon tudd seen tur xamuñ ndax ñu ngi ci biir white paper bi ak report bi wala nekkuñ fa waaye ñoom nguur gi tey ci ñi fi nekkoon ki yore kàddu nguur gi Minister of Justice Minister of Communication wane nañ ne ñoom am nañ disappointment ci civil servant yi nga xam ne ñooy liggéeyal nguur gi te yenn ci secret nguur gi dañ koy génnee te jotut ci fañ ko war a génne taskatu xibaar bi nag li ko nekkal mooy xibaar buy war a yegg ci askan wi ak nu mu ko mën a jotee segam xibaar bi tegu na ci yoon dina jàllale xibaar bi ci li nga xam ne mooy taxawaay li ñuy xaar ci ñoom Fatmata.
waaw ba pare maam ji bi tamit bëgg naa nga leeral tuuti ku bëgg a jënd li nga xamante ne mooy white paper bi fan nga dem ak institution yiñ ko jot a hand over ak lii di Janneh Commission report bi tamit for now the minister mentioned that the Janneh Commission report is available with the Gambia Press Union. Also the white paper can be you can have access to the white paper at the GPPC too.
waaw loolu am na solo ndax Gambia Press Union tey nekk na mbootaay bi nga xam ne moom moo ŋànk taskatu xibaar yëpp ci biir réew mi media house yi ak njaboot gi nga xam ne ñoo nekk ci wàllum tasum xibaar tey bu fekkee ñoom jox nañ leen 3 volumes ci li nga xam ne moom moo nekk report bi ñi jël tamit ne gis-gis dina ci am ci naka lañ mun a def ci li nga xam ne moom moo nekk taxawaayu askan wi ñi mun a jot ci report bi am na bërëb bu ñu wax ne foofu lañ ko mun a jëndee ngir képp ku ci bëgg am lu la leer ndax concern la pour askan wi tey at ak lu toftal ñëpp ñu ngi doon dégg Janneh commission bi ñi doon ñëw di testify ndax lañ doon wax dëgg la wala du dëgg lan la Janneh commission bi def recommendation lan la nguur gi def recommendation loolu yëpp ku ci bëgg lu la leer da ngay dem jënd li nga xam ne mooy report yi fuñ koy jaayee ñaata lay jar xëj na nguur gi daan ci gën a indi ay leeral waaye tey jii fësal nañ fan lañ ko mën a jotee ngir askan wi mën a koo jukki ñoom tam ñi am ci lu gën a yaatu.
Amadou, for the purpose of transparency, how would you describe the sale of the white paper at certain locations in order to have access to it? Don't you think there could have been another way for the public to get easier access to it?
Well, initially before the honored minister said it was going to be on sale, I thought it was going to be free for everybody who want to have an access or would want to have the book, so that would get one. But then we yet to know the price. But you talk about the transparency and all that. That's another thing. And then whatever it is, we will get to know later on what's going to be the price. And he says it's going to be anyone who want to have the book can get it at the GPPA. Let's just to say this is the white paper book. Okay. If you are watching with us the Gambia government white paper on the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the financial activities of public bodies, enterprises, and offices as regard their dealings with former President Yahya AJJ Jammeh and connected matters. So this is
do
the
we have
book.
anything stating decisions taken by the government on the book?
Exactly. But I know I will just allow you to engage Mam Jibi and I go through it and see if we'll find out the decisions.
Man don laka Amadou si walum li nga xamantene moy jënd ak njaayum book bi si sa gis-gis fa nga ne ndax loolu noonu moo nekk loo xam ne waroon nañ ko def fa nga ne amutoon beneen yoon boo xamante ne waroon nañoo publish report bi ba nga xamante ne képp ko xam ne doomi askan bi nga di nga am access to the report rather than nga war a dem ba place sangam fu jënd ko.
waaw loolu Fatmata du luñ doon xaar ndax li tax xaaruñ ko mooy ne Janneh commission bi dafa am xaalis bu bari buñ ci dugal. benn ci commissionnaires yi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo yore woon taxawaay bi dañ leen doon fay koppar bu takku te tax ñu leen ko doon fay mooy ne askan wi ban gis-gis lañ ci mën a am lañ doon càmbar di ko ci gëstu te xam nañ ne bokk na ci taxawaayu nguur gi ak yelleefu doomu aadama yi doxalinu nguuru Jammeh mu fi nekkoon lan lañ mën a càmbar ci doxalin boobu tey buñ gisee ñu ne report bi dañ koy jaay ñu bëri dina tey seen xel waaye kii tamit mu ngi woon ci biir te gis nañ ne taskatu xibaar la am na taxawaay bu am solo bu mu fa doon def xam nañ di nga ko bàyyi rek yow itam nga engage ko mu ñëw ci li nga xam ne mooy taxawaayam rek wax la tuuti ci gis-gisam tey jii.
Hello sir, how are you? I understand you are from the Pan-African Media something, but just quickly introduce yourself and then I'll engage you into just a very quick discussion regarding our attendance here today.
Thank you so much. My name is Mamadou Lamin Jaite. I'm a journalist with Pan-African News Agency. I represent them in the Gambia.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Mamadou, I'm sure we all came here with so many high expectations as to information that was supposed to be received and also information to be provided by the panelists of the press conference, of course. But we understand that expectations are not as, it didn't go as we expected. So what have you learned so far from the press conference?
Very interesting. It's a learning moment because I've noticed that as journalists, this press conference should have been our soul. Anytime you have journalists meeting government people in a press conference, it should be a free, open place for questions to be raised.
Isn't it weird that we were not allowed to ask questions regarding the sole purpose we gathered here, which is the white paper report published by the government?
Well, yeah, it appears that the whole thing is state managed. It's like government wants to answer certain questions and refuse to answer certain questions. And they were somehow selective. And then I feel that personally, that's my view. I think they want to hide behind these legalities. But, general questions could have been asked about the Janneh Commission. I had so many questions. For instance, I was expecting to fire a question regarding what lessons have been learned with regards to corruption. I was thinking that by now Gambians should have learned one or two questions or lessons, so that what happened in the recent past, whereby a scenario of one man hijacking government authority, government power, enriching himself, and then personalizing state wealth, and even taking the country as his personal fortune, including the lands, the other resources. So I thought such kind of general questions relating to commissions, for instance, this probing exercise should be an eye-opener for everyone who is in a position of trust to know that one day we will live and then we will be accountable one way or the other.
So would you say that the transition to democracy and justice from the past 22 years dictatorship of Jammeh, isn't it taking a very slow pace?
Oh, indeed. It's not easy, emerging out of dictatorship. It's a very bitter experience. In fact, I think in Gambia we are lucky. Maybe it's through divine intervention. And normally, when you uproot a dictator, you have what they call collapse states or systems. So many so many people fall down with a dictator. But here, thank God, we didn't see much any bloodshed, but it's not easy. There are a lot of challenges. What was systematically destroyed in 22 good years in terms of institutional checks and balances that were going to be ensured in a democratic settings were all systematically destroyed. The parliament was reduced to a rubber stamp parliament. The judiciary was in shambles. People said we were having mercenary judges coming from all over outside the country, coming to satisfy one man. And come on, the media was given a deadly blow.
Yeah.
So all the institutions, the democratic pillars that could have helped us to move forward were systematically undermined and destroyed by the dictator.
Yeah. So how would you describe the pace at which?
Very slow. I would have expected more than what we have for now. I was expecting by now we would have moved ahead. And that people should learn lessons. But it seems there are people who don't want to accept the change. They still want to live in the past. And they want to create the environment where it will be business as usual. If you look around, you see that there are a lot of challenges with regards to, I've said it, with regards to the relationship between the civil society, the security forces, particularly the police, and the civilians. The security or the police, let me say it this way, the police and civilian relationship is always problematic. So those kind of things need to change. And I would expect the leadership or the current leadership to have, to do more in terms of ensuring democratic governance. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mamadou, for your time.
Mr. Jaite, for that, of course, contribution on this program, special coverage, right here at the Minister of Justice and Attorney General's Chambers. Now, Fatu, what I have found out in this book, it has been in a way serialized to say, because what they have, any person that have been mentioned, then they will detail what you have done, some of the things. But just to say, what I have found out here also, after giving out name of institutions, companies, and what they have done wrong and what they should be expected to do to pay a certain amount to the government. I've just seen here one page which I think I just want to go through it. Just saying the government accept the commission's recommendations that the following persons should be reprimanded: Mr. Mambure Njai, Mr. Usman Jobate, Mr. Usman Jame, Miss Aissatou Oba, Mr. Ismail Asanyang, Mrs. Yamabi Keita, Mr. Lamin Nyabali, Dr. Kali Lubaya, Mr. Abdullah M. Shala, and Mr. Sulaiman Samba. They are thereby admonished and warned against such conduct in the future. Now, this is how some of them have been, have been mentioned and highlighted in the book. And
Mr. Mamuri Jai is the current Minister of Finance. By
so
the
that's
way.
why I thought it was a very interesting one. It will be very, very interesting how is all this going to pan out in the next coming days, weeks or so. Whatever it is, this is the white book, 93 page, and many, many details are in it. Of course, we will continue to look at preview of this book, and of course give you more information. What is it in it? And I think we are concluding our live broadcast here. We want to thank you as always for entrusting yourself with iAfrica TV, and of course it was good to be here since in the morning to give you what we expected would have been a very, very big occasion here at the by what we all anticipated with regards to the Janneh Commission and all that, but we also how it pan out. Thank you very much once again. I will allow Fatmata and Mamjidi to close the proceedings here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amadou. Mamjibi mabayla nga tagato comme wattu ba ñoo jamu mabayla nga tagato BWC.
jërëjëf Fatmata, defe naa ne lii la doon askan wi di xaar ci ñin depuis ci suba ba tey junjoon nañ ko ne tey jii lañ war a ñëw gis li nga xam ne moom moo nekk white paper report bi. White paper bi iAfrica TV jot ngeen ko te yéen a ngi ko doon seetaan live dégg ngeen kaddu yi nga xam ne jëwriñ yi nga xam ne ñoom lañ doon xaar pour déggee ci ñoom wax nañ ko, muy ministre bi nga xam ne moo yore wàllu communication ak jokkalante ci biir muy honorable Ibrahima Silla, Ministry of Justice honorable Tambédou dégg nañ kàddum ki nga xam ne moo nekk spokesperson bu nguur gi dégg nañ ko, secretary bi nga xam ne tamit health and civil servant moom tam dégg nañ ko muy Mr Diallo. Kon tey ñooñu tey ñëwaloon fi nguur gi ñoom ñoo doon gaaral lépp lu jëm ci li ñuy xaar ci Janneh commission bi. Wax nañ leen ko te report bi tamit ku ci bëgg a leeral wax nañ fan nga ko mën a jotee, waaye jàpp nañ ne media house yi dañ ci def jéego yu am solo ngir askan wi xam lan moo nekk ci biir li nga xam ne mooy taxawaay bi ci nu mu gën a yaatoo xam nañ ne ñun dinañ ci def yeneen special edition pour nit ñi xam lan moo feeñ ci Janneh commission bi ndax loola nit ñaa ngi ko doon xaar. leneen tamit ci liñ déggee ci ministre of justice leeral na tey ci taxawaay li nga xam ne moo nekkoon passeport saaga bi ak biñ ko ci tuddee wax na tamit ba xolam fees ndax waajur dafa foor ci doom te tey dafa wax lu nga xam ne defe naa ne lépp lu ci doon nit di wax te wane tamit ne dina delloo passeport yi loolu lañ doon xaar ci moom ak taxawaayam leneen liñ ci mën a wax rek mooy segam waajur la te waajur dafa foor ci doom te wax na waajuram taxawaayam ak condition bi nga xam ne moo nekkoon ci moom loolu moo tax tey jii mu defoon jéego ngir kooka mun a am ñu ko dimbalee ba mu am diplomatique passeport bu ko yóbbu mu dem aji màkk kon waajuram boobu ñu ngi koy ñaanal suñu borom nangul ko ajam di ko masawu coono ci méttit bi nga xam ne mu ngi koy dund te waajuram moo tax defe naa ne tey lépp lu ci nit amoon loola naqari ca lam wax ci niñ déggee émotion bi mu am defe naa ne nit mun naa fàtte yu bëri waaye nag loolu la ñuy xaar ci ñoom
tamit am politician la even though he's a legal man he's still a politician there can be something behind
mooy ne
but
place bi mu nekk askan wi ñoo ko fa teg askan wi ko fa teg tamit dafa am lu ñuy xaar ci moom ak ñun ñëpp tey dañu am wayjur te suñu wayjur itam jàpp nañ ne am na lu ñuy xaar ci seen njaboot waaye nag segam dëgg rek moo tax mu wax loola liñ mën a jàpp tey ci ni mu wax ak émotion bi rek mooy ne segam wax na dina ko delloo loolu lañ ciy xaar waaye nag li ñu fi indi woon mooy li gënoon a am solo mooy taxawaay li nga xam ne mooy Janneh commission report bi ñi xaar li ciy feeñ ak li ciy am ak yan loi moo ciy tegoo ci kaw ñi nga xam ne xaar nañ ne nguur gi dina am jéego yuñ ci jël Fatmata sant la gërëm la am mbégte kontaante ngir bokkoon ak yow jotaay ji bu baax a baax.
Thank you very much for joining us. We've come to the end of the discussion, which was a discussion regarding the press conference that just ended. We've had the Justice Minister, the Minister of Information, their revelations, even though it was not the exact information that the general public was awaiting, but not bad. We've had some issues about the key findings that the white book contains, and of course they've also highlighted that you can access this book at the GPPC headquarters for purchase, and any of the branches. The Janneh Commission report can be accessed from the Gambia Press Union too. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure we'll be bringing you more information regarding the same issue as we get you better developments.